Hello and welcome everyone to an episode of the Warhammer Meta Chasers. We're going to do things a little bit differently today because love is in the air and we just want to spread it around just a little bit. Hope everyone's doing all right. Welcome to your weekly tournament show for Warhammer 40,000. We do this live each and every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. My name is Paul, your host. I'm joined by Adam Camilleri.
Good day, everybody.
And Dustin Henshaw.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome to as I mentioned, that love is in the air. So it's Valentine's Day here in the States. I don't know if every country celebrates Valentine's Day on the same day that we do.
I'm celebrating it tomorrow. Yeah. I don't know if it's actually tomorrow or not, but we're celebrating it tomorrow.
Yeah. And due to that, we extrapolate that is why it is a slightly quieter week on the tournament front, as people have, loved ones they need to spend time with, are required to by law.
Hey, come on, do we really need to? Like every day is Valentine's Day when you're
That's correct. Right? Yeah, exactly right. Plenty of time for 40K. And
that's what I write on my Valentine's card every year, so you gotta be sure.
Gotta throw some shout outs. Erwin, good to see you. Dorian, KR, is that Tony? I think I got that right. Well, welcome to the chat. Hope you all are doing well. Thanks for joining us live. We have a great chat community. If you're listening to us after the fact on the podcast aggregators, come and hang out with us if you want to. Can chat with us and also tell us, if you're going to one of these events we talk about. This week, though, we're going to look back at the events that we covered on last week's show. This is a little bit of an insight. We're going to do things a little bit differently, for the public here, but a little bit of an insight into what we do on our Patreon after show that is for tier 2 subscribers and above. A little extra content, but we're going to work it all into this one because of the state of things.
Because we had a bit of a quiet weekend, we decided to do an extended part 2 format as our main show. So what you can expect is for the 3 events that we covered last week, we'll be giving you the podium, the top 10 breakdown. In addition to our usual format, we'll also be telling you about which detachment each player in the top 10 took, and then 2 or 3 of the notable lists therein. And of course, we'll be breaking those down on beautiful PowerPoint presentation.
Look, it's the internet.
It's gorgeous. Just
the series of tubes that bring you the information from around the world. The collected works of all humanity will also bring us these slides.
Wow.
Ill-tempered Fireblade says 5 RTTs in their area, the most they've ever seen. So obviously going the other path. Whoa. Champions. Look, spend the weekend however you want, for absolutely sure. But we're looking at.
Hey, there are some couples that'll go play RTTs together.
Yeah.
Hey, we should do doubles RTT Valentine's Day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I like that.
That would be nice. So the events we covered last week were the Beachhead Brawl, the ATC North Carolina 40K event. This is another 8-person team event, and the Cup-a-Rock.
Smashed it once again.
Perfect.
Yep, I'm sure that's exactly how I said it last time.
Accent and all.
Yeah. So the Beachhead Brawl, this in Bournemouth, England, had 203 players over a 6-round event. What I mean, maybe a quick rundown of what we saw there. I'm not sure how we're gonna
just give us the
as a reminder.
Just give us the faction podium there, Dustin, just so people have a little insight into what these 203 players were predominantly taking.
Yeah, for sure. So the faction podium there was Necrons topping off with 14, Chaos Space Marines right behind them with 13, World Eaters with 12, Demons, Dark Angels, and Custodes with 11, Blood Angels, Imperial Knights, Astra Militarum with 10. So it was actually a fantastic spread with not
beautiful,
much differential there.
Could not have been better. And apart from literally having everyone playing like 5 of every single faction in the game, this is what you want to see. A nice, beautiful little step down. Now, quickly transitioning over to our next slide. This is our picks. So this is what we picked to win. This is the stuff you're going to get on part 2. This is the sassy bit. So, all right. Dustin, you better do this one because I don't have the heart to.
Oh my God. So Adam picked Demons. I picked Necrons. Most represented. Paul, of course, went with his Blood Angels. The podium was first Blood Angels. Second, Astra Militarum. You should have picked Astra Militarum, Adam. And then third, Chaos Demons.
So this is what we do. So when you listen to the main show, we go through, what's our picks, and we pick our factions. This is how we do it on the part 2. So I run down the podium, and whoever picked the podium or something on the podium gets some points associated with that selection. And of course, if you pick first place, you get 3 points. And picking first place.
A lot goes into making these predictions here. Sometimes you can have awareness of the players. Sometimes you can just look at the numbers, and sometimes you go with your heart.
You got a Babe Ruth. Yeah, so Paul got 3 points on this one. And if you are one of our patrons and listened to last month's wrap up, which was last week, yeah, me and Dustin are full of chagrin right now, just up to the gills in chagrin. But anyway, let's jump over and see what was in that part 10. Dusty, give us the rundown.
Oh, so we got the top 10: the Blood Angels, the Liberator Assault Group, an Astral Militarum with Bridgehead Strike Force, Demons with Demonic Incursion, just straight up. Oh, okay. Necrons, Canaptic Court. I'm seeing a lot more of that lately. I actually really like the Canaptic Court right now in the meta. Custodes, Shield Host, Chaos Space Marines with Packbound Zealots. Another Necrons with Shatterstar Arsenal, another one you see a lot of, obviously. Chaos Space Marines, Renegade Raiders, Imperial Knights, Noble Lance, and Votan Oathband. That is the top 10 and not a single duplicate detachment.
No duplicate detachment at all. Yeah. So double Necrons, double Chaos Space Marines are the only 2 duplicates there. Apart from that, singles for the rest. So 8 individual factions represented. Yes, 8 factions represented. And then 8 individual and then 10 individual detachments. Anything jumping out to you, Paul?
I mean, one, the diversity, we can't say that enough, is that there are just anybody's archetype, the way you want to play can get you in the top spot of this couple hundred players event, which is absolutely spectacular. Liberator Assault Group, though, there for the Blood Angels, which is what we talked about. We talked about that. I can't remember if it was in a Fuego where we got a little bit too deep into 40K or whatever, but the Liberator Assault Group. Yeah.
Isn't that what the show is about?
Yeah. Well, most of the show is about.
Correct.
But the Liberator Assault Group, I think, is going to give you the most consistency, although maybe not as exciting as the other detachment we've seen. But look at that. Custodes, though, with the Shield Host.
Yes, the OG. That was in fact Stephen Box, who had a very, very strong performance at the ITT last weekend. So he's gone from 600 plus player team event straight to 203 player GT weekend to weekend. The guy does not rest, and he's taking OG Shield Host. He's taking straight back to essentially the index detachment, and he's doing extremely well with it. And you'll find that Custodes are performing pretty dang well the world over at the moment. A couple of different ways to play.
Shatterstar Arsenal also there, this is post fac, for them of the changes there. So General still opting to use that and do very well with it.
And well done there to the Imperial Knights and Votan players. And I will be noting Imperial Knights a couple more times because I think they made the top 10 of every one of the events this weekend.
Wow.
So of all 3 events that we covered, Imperial Knights made the top 10, if not higher.
Are they back to being like a serious gatekeeper you have to be ready to deal with now?
I think that is safe to say, mate, because I think that we will see what Eldar does to them when they come out. There's a lot of people saying, oh no, Eldar is going to be very bad for Knights because they can remove Knights with very cheap assets. But you can only have 3 or 4 of those assets that remove those Knights very effectively. I'm talking about like the Fire Dragons.
Yeah, the Fire Dragons.
And as someone who's been building Eldari lists recently, those points go quick.
They do. And even Dark Reapers don't consistently kill Knights, baby Knights, like Armigers, especially Armigers with Feel No Pain. And you'll find that the 3, I think I got one of the Knight lists to break down 4 years later, but the three lists that made the top 10 of these 3 large events, 100 plus player events, they're all pretty much Canis Rex and all Warglaves, Canis Rex and all Armigers, or just all Armigers, and of course some agents added in there. So definitely going more for the Chaos Knight archetype using Imperial Knights and getting results. But anyway,
Lab Scallion is in the chat. Apparently does not normally get here, so welcome in live. And then A Steve's tuning in. How's it going down south?
Well, down. Where's Beach? Whatever. I'm not sure Beachhead Brawl was in the south. I think it was in the south. But anyway, Nicholas.
No, Beachhead Brawl is north of. Is from me, but Steve is
it was the south of England.
That's it.
Oh, okay, sorry. I thought Beachhead Brawl was in the south of England, in Bournemouth. I thought that was in the south of England. Anyway, in first place, we had Nicholas Willingale, with Blood Angels Liberator Assault Group. So, of course, there's a Blood Angels, and Paul got the points. So, Paul, tell us about it.
Ooh, nice. So, gift of foresight on the Judicar, of course, being able to strike first, absolutely awesome. Primaris Captain with speed of the Primarch. 3x5 assault intercessors, 1 impulsor, 3x5 jump pack intercessors, 3 ballistus dreads.
One more than usual.
Yep. 2x5 incursors, 5 infiltrators, 3 predator destructors, and 5 scouts. Oh no.
And there's a Storm Speeder Hammer Strike that got cut off at the bottom.
Oh, Storm Speeder head. Well, okay. Well, I got what you will see here is a lack of Blood Angel specific units.
He's doing the thing.
Doing the thing.
So, look, you can be a fan of the faction of the relics if you want, but if this army's not red,
do we refund your points, Paul? Like, do you take the points?
I will give them up. I want to see pictures.
Nah, you played as Blood Angels.
Of course, absolutely. Actually, that's one of the coolest things about Warhammer right now is that you can actually overlay the archetype and the play style of whatever your models are, which is encouraged by the game and cool, of course, a little bit. And I'm not giving those points up, so that was all.
All for show. And yes, I have issues with this being the way that this is interpreted, that if you do not take any Blood Angels or Dark Angel specific models in your Blood Angels, Dark Angels, Space Wolves army, whatever it may be, you do get access to the +1 to wound Oath of Moment change. I don't like that. I hope that is something that comes out in FAQ and they're just like, yeah, nah, let's not let that happen anymore. And we can get away from some of this silliness, because I want Blood Angels units in my Blood Angels armies. I want people to want to take their Blood Angels units in their Blood Angels armies.
They are a Codex chapter. So this is stuff that all exists in the Blood Angels,
by the thinnest margins. Nah, you're fine. Doing much better than the furries in the space. But anyway, a really great list. So much good at every level here. The 3 ballistus dreads mean that you don't struggle with any transports at any time. The hammer strike giving you ignores cover on demand, usually arriving from deep strike as well, and 3 predator destructors for a bit of heavy lifting in addition. And then you just have a swarm of dudes.
Yeah, they do really well with objectives, like because of the hammer of the wrath or the rewarm the wound. There's like a lot of good things they can do.
So say what you will about the rules interactions that allow this to have the +1 to wound, but this looks like one of the most quintessential Adeptus Astartes lists of all time. It really does. It's Assault Marines plus Rifleman Dreads, I guess you could say, from back in the day. If you're talking about, back in the day, that's what we used to.
Those were autocannons, but sure, yeah, why not?
Yeah. It's got predators. It's got 3 predators. It's got one land speeder. I used to run that list. I think I had 2 predators and 2 dreads and 1 land speeder in 4th edition, and this looks like that list.
It does, yeah.
It does. It looks like a quintessential white dwarf space marine list.
Oh, there's something missing from that though. There's no drop pod.
Oh, you're right.
Next time.
You are correct. You are absolutely correct. Fair. You got me.
But we have a couple more lists to look at, don't we?
We do. All right. Next one up, we have Byron Sidhu playing in 3rd place with the Chaos Demons, playing good old Demonic Incursion. And I'll run this one down, then we'll let Dustin do the last one. But this consists of Bellicor, Great Unclean One with the Endless Gift, then Scarbrand and Shalaxi. That is a lot of points in 2 characters. Then you're already taking Bellicor.
This is like an early edition list.
It really is. And then 10 Plague Bearers, 3x3 Fiends, and 3x5 Screamers. So it's going 4 bigs, and then MSU, but all multi-wound. Everything in this army is multi-wound. Even the Plague Bearers are 2 wounds. So really stressing out people, I assume, taking a lot of 1 damage weapons in either preparation for the Eldar game or to play and be good into Guard. Because, of course, Guard is kind of raining men at the moment and bringing heaps of Scions in from reserve and deep strike all over the place. A lot of people are stacking up just like en masse strength 4 AP guns. Like just bringing just a deluge of them. That won't do much to anything against this army. All those guns are a waste because you're shooting into above average toughness across the board, above average wounds per model, 4 wounds on the Fiends, 3 wounds on the Screamers, but 4+ invulnerable save, and toughness 5, 2 wounds on the Plague Bearers. And then you got Shalaxi, Scarbrand, GUO with Feel No Pain and Bellicor, so you can't shoot. I think this is a perfect place, perfect time call by Byron, and probably knew this meta very well because I reckon this did well because of that. You think about Star Shatter Arsenal from for Necrons and how that shapes up into this. Doesn't do anything.
Oh, it's got casino cannons. Come on.
Yeah, it's got to get him within 18 because
I must say with the Shadow of Chaos or whatever it is.
It's going to stand that great unclean one, 6 inches in front of Be'lakor on the middle objective, unshootable unless you're willing to get up and have a cuddle. If you come and get a cuddle, it moves up, dunks down either Shalaxi or Scarbrand for a 6-inch charge, and see you later, alligator. Like, you're out of there. And I'm assuming Shalaxi is here because she is one of the things that can truly one-shot or get close-ish to one-shotting a Silent King, because those 4 rolls to hit the wound and damage versus characters and monsters and stuff. So she is actually something that will keep a Silent King in check in Star Shadow as well. So while she likely doesn't one-tap it, it's one of the only things in the game that can, similar to Canis Rex, depending if you
still essentially neutralize it. I mean, that's
exactly, yeah,
that's a real good thing.
Yeah. So yeah, well done to Byron. And we have one more to talk about. James Grover in 4th place with Necrons of the Canoptic Court variety. Take it away, Dusty.
We've got a Nightbringer Caesaris, Plasmancer, Royal Warden, 2 Tectomancers with one with Dimensional Sanctum. So that's the Infiltrate, I believe. 10-5 of Immortals, 2 Doomstalkers, 2x6 race. So not the maximum amount of race, but got more stuff in here instead. 5 Flayed Ones, 1 Locust Destroyer for secondaries, 3 Ophidian Destroyers for secondaries, 3 Tomb Blades for secondaries and primaries. I like it. I like this. It's not like hard skewed into the full durability. You do like a teams list, but it has a lot of pieces that I can play the matchup into any matchup.
I'd like to say this is a testament to the community that when people went back to Canoptic Court, I guess as a result of Star Shadow getting some changes, Hypercrypt getting some changes, they were like, I can't just Unga Bunga Triple Catan 18 race. I don't have an army, and armies that don't have utility units of a higher quality will just straight up lose games. Straight up lose games. And so now people actually have to take reasonable lists. And I like this. 2 units of Wraiths, 1 big unit of Immortals to get juiced up to the gills by Caesaris. So it's still a very good unit. I respect it a lot. And then just 2 Doomstalkers and a phenomenally good performance. This is a good list. It's well-rounded now, rather than what it used to be, which was Unga Bunga, you can't kill me, ha ha ha. And it was very frustrating back then.
No, I like that. I like the 10-5 Immortals, one with the Plasmancer, one with the Royal Warden, I'm assuming, because I don't think there's anything else that you can go with.
Yeah.
It seems like you get a lot of units when you don't take the Sonic King.
He does free up a lot of points. Even like the rates with the Tectomancer is a good 300 points. So that's
yeah, exactly right. I mean, it's no Silent King. It's only single Catan. A lot of times we were seeing this list with like a Transcendent Catan, a Void Weaver, and the Nightbringer, and that would be over a third of your list.
Yeah,
and then when you did your 3 units of Wraiths, there's half your list in just the Wraiths, and then you're like, sweet, I get 2 single Locust Destroyers. Let's go. I hope they score me. They need to score me 23 secondary points this game, otherwise I'm going to lose. And so, yeah, I think this is a great list by James. And if anybody wants to know where to go back to for a Canoptic Court build, this is a great place to start. And we've been doing the Necron players good, because every kind of show for the last kind of couple of weeks, we've been picking out a different Necron archetype that's coming back into vogue. And last week we did Awakened Dynasty. This week we're doing a bit of the Canoptic Court. So hopefully people are here for it.
Got some pondering here that we might see big bricks of warriors going into the Eldar and the Astromalterum. So
think so.
So there's 2 builds for Eldar that will be very good into those builds, and then a bunch of their builds that won't. So some of the builds like Ynnari and Aspect Host are actually not going to be great into 20 warriors.
Wind Riders, though, right?
The Wind Riders are going to absolutely ruffle stomp out of a cannon into the sun. Them is the issue. But the Aspect Host has nothing for it, like literally nothing. It's 5. It's like ad nauseum units of 5 Aspect Warriors.
It's interesting when that kind of meta comes up, though, because they build those bricks to fight most of the Eldar meta. Because I think Wind Rider Host, a lot of people like it. They're not like it because it's a lot less durable, even though it has the firepower is.
You can sometimes not be seen, get around.
That's the big thing. It's a lot of movement shenanigans too. But then they're going to get weaker into things like Bridgehead, because Bridgehead they would shred the warriors. Most guard lists would, right?
Yeah, guard does reasonably well into the warriors, especially the thing is, guard don't really have a single outside of a Rogal Dawn tank commander that's juiced to the gills, doesn't have a single dunk kill 20 warriors with a 5-up invuln. Even 50. Let's run an objective. 15 Scions don't have a chance of killing them because they literally will not have enough shots. They'll get close, and if they're on an objective, they might still do it. But the thing is, with guard, you can take them down to 3 or 4 guys left and be like, job's done. It's fine. Okay, we can move on. We can go do other things. We're going to hold these objectives now. We've got the same OC as you. We're going to hold the objectives. You can regen a couple of turns out. We'll just kill you again then. So they don't really mind. Yeah, exactly right.
That's a turn 4 problem.
Next event we're going to talk about is the one we talked about, was the ATC NC 40K. I said it was 8-man earlier. It's a 5-man team tournament here. There's, the ATC is now branching out into 5 and 8 player team circuits, and this is one of the events on there. So 150 players and 30 teams of 5. Tell us what was in that faction podium.
The faction podium here was technically Astartes topping it off with 20, and then Orcs with 15, Asher Militarum with 12, Adeptus Astartes at 11 by themselves, 10 Custodes, and 9 World Eaters. So Orcs being the most represented faction in a team event. That was crazy, yeah.
It was wild. And when we go over to our picks, you'll see that I picked first, and I had to back those numbers. And I picked Orcs, Dustin picked Tyranids, and Paul picked Custodes. What came first there, Dustin?
Paul. It's like not even. It's just Paul did. Custodes number 1, Astartes number 2, and World Eaters number 3. So.
Yeah, and in brackets, you have my feelings on this.
Well, we're just we're just gonna be.
There's plenty of weeks left in the month, right?
No, it's gonna be Adam and me competing for the rest of the month. At this point.
Correct.
Like
Silver is the new gold.
Yeah, silver's the new gold.
We are so blown out of the water, mate. So if anybody's been watching our show for a long time, the best you can kind of hope for is once every 2 or 3 weeks picking a first place, and then trying to get 1, maybe 2 other podiums. But getting a first place, especially in this meta, is extremely hard. And the fact that Paul got 2 first places, yeah. What I do not even. Don't worry. We'll get into it.
Picking third also.
Explaining. I know, technically, yeah.
Maybe if Adam and I combine our points for the month, maybe that way we could do it. We'll join forces.
I'm glad you said that about the fact that it is not because I happen to have done it this time, but it is difficult to really pick what is going to come out, consistently number 1 in those top 10, because it really is that Brewers build out there. The missions are conducive to multiple formats of list winning. The terrain is now consistent across a lot of events, and so players know what to expect and plan for. So the talent of the general is really showing out there right now.
And also, we cover a very good spread of singles and team events the world over, and the world has different metas for different places. The identities of different geographical locations and the nuances of their metas are so distinct and flavorful that trying to pick a winner anywhere is never a done thing. So well freaking done, Paul. 2 first places, absolutely superstar effort. All right, let us jump into that top 10, Dusty boy. What do we have?
We have Custodes that won it with the Solar Spearhead, which I'm sure is like the triple Telemon, triple contemptor build. Oh, we're going to cover it. Sorry, I just spoiled it. Anyway, Blood Angels, the Liberator Assault Group again. World Leaders with the Berserker Warband. Orcs, a Tactical Brigade. No real surprise there. Imperial Knights again with their Noble Lance. Another Blood Angels with this one with Angelic Inheritors, though.
With actual Blood Angel units.
Basically, Ultramarines, a Gladius Task Force. Custodes with Solar Spearhead again. Adeptus Astartes, Ultras with the Ironstorm Spearhead. And then Adeptus Mechanicus with Scutari Hunter Cohort.
So, of course, the one, virtually, like I said, I already talked about denoting that Imperial Knights are actually doing reasonably well. And this was a teams event where Imperial Knights made top 5. Made 5th place. And so really well done there. And like I said, it's just an amalgam of either Canis Rex and all armigers and then some agents, or no Canis Rex, all armigers and agents. But the one that jumped out to me is that I think this is the first time in a 100+ player team event I have seen AdMech in the top 10 of a team's event. Usually they don't put up differentials.
The Scutari Hunter Cohort, I feel, can put up the differentials with the right matchup if they're doing like their horde build, because they can just deny primary and secondary, which gives them the differential, right? And that makes a big difference. It's just it's it's not fun to play a lot of the time for a lot of people.
Yeah.
You mean to actually move the models around or play against?
It's both.
Actually move the models around.
Have to move
And
the
also,
models
it's
around.
damage via committee. There are so few models in the AdMech range that will 1-for-1 dunk on another unit.
Yeah.
Any other unit. There's like pretty much outside breaches, there's no infantry unit that will one-shot another infantry unit. There's no tank that will one-shot another tank unless it's a Ballistari that high rolls. A Ballistari that literally gets a crit hit, so it gets 2 hits. There's kind of no 1-for-1s there, and so that could become a pretty punishing hill to climb, because a lot of people who I will say this is few and far between, because the AdMech player base is one of the smallest in the game, but people who know how to play AdMech can kind of just get on the front foot against them. And if you kind of just stop them denying your primary, usually you chew them out and you win the game, because they're just throwing toughness 3 5-up invuln models at you pretty much ad nauseum. Essentially, it's killing demonettes.
Yeah.
Is the profile. You're just like killing through a horde of demonettes. But yeah, demonettes with tricks, even though Legion of Excess has a lot of tricks. But let's jump into the first, because of course we're always going to cover the first place. And seeing as Dustin already shot the pooch, let's let Dustin take it away.
I just assumed it was Solar Spearhead. All right.
But so I do have to ask before I go this. Paul, did you know Folger was going to this event?
I did not. No, I did not.
Okay, I would have been like, you had the hot take, mate. If you did, you're like, Folger's going. I'm picking Folger. I'm not telling the other 2 boys.
I didn't, but this is so. I am very familiar with players in the South, but I did not know that he was going to this event. Although that would have been like whoever did have that information.
Yeah,
exactly.
One of us had it. One of us would have picked
the inside scoop, because
reigning world champion. Is why we're talking about it. Like, won the 40K World Champs event back in November.
All right, Dusty, give us the lowdown.
All right, so Solar Spearhead, Blade Champion with the Adamantine Talisman, which makes him an absolute monster in combat. The Talamon with the Augury Uplink, so 5-up Feel No Pain. I'm pretty sure I got those right, not mixed around, right? Yeah.
You absolutely did.
2 Caladius, 4 Wardens, 2 more Talamon, so triple Talamon, 2x4 Prosecutors, and 3 Venerable Contemptors. I have 3 Venerables and 3 Talamon. I called it, all right? I knew.
You did.
Solar Spearhead, okay?
So essentially, Folger wrote this list probably about 2 days after the detachment came out in Grotmus, and hasn't changed a point.
Guess he's liking it.
He's liking it.
Doing well
He's
with
liking it. This is the quintessential list. But so for teams, there is arguments to go deeper on other dreadnoughts in this list. Notably, the Sword and Board Galatis being always -1 to wound in combat, meaning that if you are strength 9, you're 5s. This doesn't have to be strength better. I think I see a lot of players wanting to take a 1 of that in their teams list, because it just puts an absolute stopper on stuff like 8 bound, wounded on 4s, 5s, or 6s depending on the profiles, and absolutely just annoys the bejesus out of Space Wolves and stuff like that as well. So many armies do not handle that guy very well. But
you mean Space Wolves that want to put you in the wolf jail?
Put you in wolf jail. You just charge that Solar Galatis in there, and you're like, you can fight this for eternity. I'm going to take care of the rest of your army, and this one's just going to keep you busy forever. Because outside the characters spiking with their Thunderhammers, it will take them forever to get through that guy.
Yeah, the Venerables are annoying too, because they're not easy to take down.
Well,
they just stand back up. That's frustrating.
Exactly right. So there are a lot of one-phase armies in the game, and by one-phase armies, I mean that their damage output exists in predominantly or entirely in one phase of the game. Guard is the biggest example of that. There's no more Bulgarun or Rough Riders being taken in massing Guard anymore. They ain't got any melee to stake their life on, and so the Venerable Contemptors are so very very strong versus Guard, because they also have their right size base now that pretty much no matter where you stand on that objective, you're going to block out a 6-inch deep strike because of the size of their base. So a Venerable Contemptor on an objective is just such a problem for Guard, because it's going to cost you 2 turns of activations to kill that guy, as long as they roll the 2 up to get back up on death.
Which they always do, unless you're the one rolling it, right? That's how it always feels.
And this is another list that I'm interested to see if I see any changes when Eldar come out, because the Caladius, of course, are very good at killing wave serpents, but it's only to if you're taking 200+ point Caladiuses to be the predator of 2 130 point wave serpents, and that's the only good targets they have. Apart from that, it's 5 idiots with an invuln, so the Caladius isn't good at killing those with 4 shots. I'm interested to see if the Caladius numbers go up, go sideways, whatever, but keen to see what happens to them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, although I have had some people talking about taking a lot of Wraith Lords in their Eldar lists, and so they might be extremely
Wraith
good
Lords. I haven't seen those
Yeah,
in a minute.
I'm really down on the Wraith Lords. G-Dub's doing this well, mate. They're bringing back all the OGs.
Okay, I love the OGs.
It's like
Bring
there's
them
so
all
many
back.
options, and that's what it is.
Yeah.
You kind of like, and then we'll talk about that codex in other shows, and undoubtedly when it does get in people's hands, actually it's in people's hands now. The next week when this starts to become legal, we'll see what people have opted with.
All right, Garrett Stacey, of course, with I would say a fair bit of this top 10 being some of the usual suspects, and there being a super spicy Objects Mechanicus list. I had to go to 10th place and break this one down. Skitarii Hunter cohort, 3 marshals, each one of them carrying an enhancement: Clandestine Infiltrator, Veiled Hunter, and Cantic Thrallnet. So that'll be one's the scout, one's the get out, get in of transports, and one is another thing, whatever. It's got a Sidonian Scatros
uplink net stuff. You know?
Yeah, it's gonna do dial up. It's gonna go ding, 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 dun, dun. And that's good. Scatros, the lone not making it in. Old Go-Go Gadget Legs himself on the stilts. First time I have seen him.
That's got to be a point choice. That has to be a point.
Well, it keeps going down. That bottle keeps going down, right? So I guess to your point, he's got to be cheap enough now that he's worth it. And in teams, loan up is very powerful. 10 Rangers, 4 units of 10 Vanguard, 3/1/1 Ballistari. So unit of 3, 2 units of 1, 2x5 Sky Stalkers, and then here we get spicy. Max Infiltrators, 3x10 Infiltrators, and then 10/5/5 Rust Stalkers. So ostensibly, this is going to try and block you off and wall you in with Vanguard and Sky Stalkers, while Ballistari pop your transports, and either, depending on the matchup, Infiltrators go and spam you to death with Strength 6 attacks that'll have sustained and Bajillion attacks, or the Rust Stalkers will surgically remove things like Astartes and other Gribblies and bits like that. So this is much more of a melee pressure AdMech list, and not what I expected at all. It still has all the bodies, like it still has so many bodies. But yeah, really well done to Garrett, because this is a very interesting list for this meta. What do you think about it, boys?
It's like
I thought
saying,
we're going to
like
see a couple tanks. Yeah, sorry, Dustin, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, like, it's just exactly what I like with the Hunter cohort, just bodies, lots and lots of bodies, because that's how. I know a lot of AdMech players don't want to win this way, but it's how they win. It really is, because they have a lot of well-costed bodies for what they can do in terms of tricks and body blocking and the durability that they just have built in. Like two wound infiltrators are a pain in the butt to remove when there's 10 of them. Like that's a pain. Even like the Rust Stalkers, and then of course 60 Rangers and Vanguard between them. Like it's a lot to chew through. And like you were saying, a lot of the armies don't have enough bullets.
Exactly right. And funnily enough, like with stealth and 5-up invul, things 10 units of 10 Rangers, units of 10 Infiltrators are actually pretty awkward, like being multi-wound. And essentially, if like 3 of those touch a unit of Scions, it's vaped. Yeah, it's just taser goad, made it into combat, out of there. Essentially, it's 10 Immortals. It's essentially 10 Immortals with Tasla carbines. And I love them. I think they're fantastic because they can infiltrate. They put you in infiltrator jail. In addition to the Vanguard and the Sky Stalkers, and then the Rust Stalkers are the counter assault for how you respond to what they do to you. I love this list. I think it's a great team's archetype.
I'm glad you mentioned the team's archetype again, because you do get some agency in your matchups with this and that. That, of course, the armyless makeup, the general, and then the matchup, and then table pick. All can kind of congeal to make that perfect storm, and then having a list and doing the success with a faction that is very, I guess, easy to kind of go off track with your purpose because of the model choices and stuff. Having it dialed in is a true testament to the skill here. So love to see it.
Well, brings us on to our last event.
Last event we covered was the you gotta say it again. I Kupnarak. Ia Kupanrak.
That's better. That's good.
From Villa Marilia de Cerrato, Palacina, Spain. Palacia, not Sina. I accidentally threw an in there, and I apologize.
108 players.
Not everything else, though. Yes.
5 rounds. What was the faction podium, Dusty?
Faction podium here, we were looking at total of starters, obviously topping it off with 16, but then Astral at Terran with 10, Necrons at 9, and Custodes at 8. The podiums being pretty similar in terms of the top 3 in there, like Astral, Terran, Necrons, Custodes, I think being part of all of them. No real surprise, though, especially with how well Custodes have been doing lately and just how popular Necrons are right now. And Have been for a while, come to think of it. But
Indeed. What were our picks? And Paul, you can read this one out.
you read it. You read it, Paul.
Adam went with Orcs. Dustin went with Astra Militarum. I went with Necrons. Number one spot, surprisingly, Votan.
No 3 points for you, Paul. No 3 points for you.
Necrons. Whoa, look at that. Third place, Imperial Knights, giving me a total of 8 points this week.
That would be the record of how many points someone has ever gotten on this show.
Correct.
Like ever.
Correct. In the 3+ years we've been doing this show,
never has
a
this
couple of different
before.
names, no one has ever gotten more than 6 points in a week.
Wow.
And Paul just smashed the ceiling. And yes, if you're watching this live, you get to see how I feel about this in the in the bold underneath, because I would like to know what sacrifices you made to make this happen.
Look, I'm
assuming
here,
flesh was consumed.
I'm data. Looking at data.
Oh, data. I'm sure this was all data. Yep.
I got an abacus right over here.
This was all data.
I may or may not have a bubbling cauldron, of.
Oh man! And there's the call of the day. KR. Paul is the Eagles. Dustin and Adam are the Chiefs. That's it. That's the
there it is.
That's the comment of the day, and that sums up where Dustin and I are at perfectly.
Yep.
We are boned. All right, let's jump over.
Let's just skip to March. Go to March.
Let's just Feb's over. Put it in the bank. If it's done, she's cooked. What was in the top 10, mate?
Top 10, we're looking at Votan Oathband, Necrons Awakened Dynasty, Imperial Knights Noble Lance, Tyranids Invasion Fleet, Astra Militarum Hammer of the Emperor, Tyranids Invasion Fleet, Necrons Shatterstar Arsenal, Custodes Talons of the Emperor, and then Blood Angels, Angelic Inheritors, and Demons Legion of Excess. Not access, excess. It's more. It's not accessible.
Necrons and Tyranids being the double ups here. Different Necron detachments. Once again, Shatterstar was in the top 10, but wasn't the top Necron detachment, which is interesting to note. But double Invasion Fleet being the spicy take here. I will let you know, I didn't break down either of those lists because they were fairly typal. But one of them was Turvagon 2x20 Termagants.
See, I like that right now. That's actually
I
like that spice in any list because it just makes the weapon profile awkward if you only have one good type of weapon profile. And a lot of armies don't have what it takes to take out big bricks like that. And an invasion fleet with the Turvagon 2d3 plus 6 are coming back every turn, man.
And then they go and spoil it all by bringing literally one unit of 6 Wind Riders. But yeah, that is not this week.
This week.
The first
list was ready.
Exactly right. The first list I decided to break down, of course, was in first place. Freaking Votan won this, guys. This is amazing. Nice. This is Koldo Beska, first place with Leagues of Votan Oathbound. And straight up, this thing might have one more Sagittar than usual, but I could not tell you what is different about this to some of the singles lists we see. 2 Ironheart Champions, 10 Hearthkin Warriors, 4 Sagittars, 3x5 Chthonian Berserks, 2x5 Hearthguard to, of course, go with the Ironheart Champs in the 2 Hecatons, and 2x3 Pioneers with 10 Jaegers. This is a singles list.
I was looking at the difference, where there are at least 1, maybe 2 Sagittars more than what we've seen in I think the singles archetype recently.
Yeah, exactly right. Another unit of 3 bikes is the first thing that pops out. Usually it's 3x3 bikes. Yeah. But I've been seeing so many people taking the Berserk, so many people taking that Hearthguard. Of course, a lot of the time I'm seeing a 10 and a 5 Hearthguard, and then you'll have because you got 1 less Sagittar, you'll have 5 of the Berserks in one of the Hecatons, and the other Hecaton will get 5 Hearthguard and 1 of the Ironhears, and you'll have 10 with an Ironhear champ in reserve. And so I suppose 3 bikes and another 5 Hearthguard are the things that are obviously. Sorry,
no Thunderkin.
Yeah, I really like Thunderkin teams. That's a good shout. Thunderkin teams are fantastic. Just absolutely just keeping anybody's mech armies from wanting anything to do with you, coming in from reserve and literally picking up 3 transports sometimes if you've got the right judgment tokens in the right places. But yeah, really well done to Koldo. I can't say anything more about this list. This list was seen a lot and not a list that I would have said could have done this. So very impressive performance here. A lot of generalship probably.
Yeah, Europe says, not a high movement score, no problem. Like Demgard, Votan still win.
Exactly right. Next up, we have Ivan Miguel.
What?
Almost stumbled there.
I don't have a thing for that. I'm going to go back.
Oh, sorry. No, I didn't put it up here because it was just a nice list. And I was like, I can just talk about this in 2 seconds. And I probably already
go for it.
A couple bigs, few smalls, Imperial Agents.
Correct. Canis, 4 Helverins, 5 Warglaives, Calidus, 10 Battle Sisters, and an Immolator. And that was pretty much the archetype for all bar one of the other 2 lists. So there was one that was an exact carbon copy of this, and then the other list was just this list with more armigers and no Canis Rex. So pretty close to what Imperial Knights are taking, but I just really wanted to point out and highlight the Imperial Knights made all the top 10s. And then the last one, and this will be the last one for the show before we tune over to our next segment, Eric Hermosolila.
Not so easy, is it?
Hermosilla. Eric Hermosilla. I got there.
There you go.
Badly. 5th place was Astra Militarum, Hammer of the Emperor. So not Bridgehead, not combined. And I think this was the first week with the Codex in full force, at least in some places in the world.
Looks like it because there's Krieg Engineers there.
I was about to say the Krieg Engineers.
that kind of tips.
But I know some of the other events I looked at, but not the ones we covered, weren't running the Codex. So I think it might have been.
Okay.
So it might have been the tweener week.
Well, the Codex. So I guess technically it's not in folks' hands yet, outside of the box set.
It's one of those.
But it was announced for pre-order this weekend, on the weekend of these games. So technically, it's like the tweener week.
Yeah.
Whereas, I like if all your players have the book, you'd feel silly telling them that they can't play it. But if like half do and half don't, you're like, oh, I don't know what's better.
I mean, realistically, there's a lot of information out there, and the guard players that got it wanted to get it, or that wanted to get it probably got it. So.
100%. All right, this list, Hammer of the Emperor. So this is the tanky, tready. Let's just go run them over. Build. Lord Solar, Militarum Tempestus Command Squad. 3 Rogel Dawn tank commanders, one of which has Indomitable Steed, and that is the Feel No Pain enhancement. 2x10 Cadians, a Taurox. 3x3 Cadian heavy weapons teams, all pack and mortars. 2x10 Krieg Engineers. These are the guys with the little RV remote control, so RC cars that'll go and do D6 mortal wounds to you, similar to how the Kassakan were doing it, but for like 40 points less. 5 Rattlings, 3 single Scout Sentinels, and 10 Scions. Now, this is actually relatively light on the tank. Sorry, there's a Hellhound in here. How did I remember there's a Hellhound in here from my memory, but not?
I mean, 3 Rogel tank commanders. Yeah, and a Phantom Hellhound.
Yeah,
and a Taurox.
the ghost hound. The Hound of the
Scout
Baskervilles.
Sentinels, you're gonna feel like there's armor on the table.
Yeah,
correct. But when people envisioned this army, like when they first envisioned what this would look like after, possibly disseminating the first impressions of the detachments online or whatever, they would have been like, oh, all tanks all the time. But I find this is better in this build, like how Eric's done it. 3 Rogel Dawn tank commanders is dang near enough beef.
Until this codex gets lived in a bit, you're almost going to feel like 2 or 3 Rogel Dawn tank commanders are start of your list. Like that's just what's
And I'm just going to say it right now, they're too cheap. 260 starting at 265.
Why you got to put that out there?
Oh, because I'm a guard player. And they are so very, very good that they're exactly right. 2 just populate. I don't care what detachment you are, mate. 2 Rogel Dawn tank commanders self-populate in all my lists at the moment.
And you're exactly right. So maybe the points is a little bit of a nod to that, but it's also nice to see Rogel Dawns on the table. We haven't seen them in great numbers since they were invented.
So the one that interests me is I actually, when I looked at this. And start building some lists for this detachment conceptually, I was like, 2 to 3 Rogel Dawns. It might be 2 Rogel Dawns and 1 actual tank commander, because shooting on death is still a very strong ability that you want to threaten your opponent with. And then I was actually going very heavily into the transports. I was going 2, sometimes 3 Tauroxes or 2 Tauroxes in a Chimera and shoving the Krieg Flamer teams in the Chimera to shoot out the top hatch.
To shoot out the top hatch,
yeah, because it's obnoxious and they're 18-inch flamers. But yeah, only the single Taurox here, because of course the Taurox is with the Krieg Engineers. Of course, you can advance and disembark with the Taurox, and you get auto advance 6 in this detachment. And so you can just sling those Krieg Engineers with their OC, with their free grenade, and then RC car for mortal wounds in 24-inch range. So you essentially, once you've moved out of your deployment zone, every middle objective is available to that Taurox, every single one. And I always thought that was extreme power. He's gone for a single one of those. I do really like Rattlings, though. I think Rattlings and Infiltrators are super necessary for guard at the moment, because if you're not playing Scions and having your heavy hitters arriving from reserve, essentially you need to take board space, or else people can still swamp you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
we're
as we
good
can
with
see,
guns if you can't fire him.
there ain't no counter assault anymore on guard. So if they get on top of you, there's no digging out, like outside of, well, you can't fall back and do diddly squat with most guard detachments. So yeah, if they get on top of you, you're in trouble. But this list is fantastic. This list is absolutely superstar stuff and a great place to start for anyone's hammering the Emperor archetypes.
I like it. I like it a lot. But
Yeah.
Lords are still too cheap. The Commanders, too cheap.
Oh man, I don't know about that.
Too cheap.
I put it out there. Where's my Baneblade Tank Commander? Where is it? Where is it?
There's,
Don't
the way you just
put
arrogant.
that evil out there. Don't put that evil out there.
Although Yark is apparently no longer with us. The Fortress of Arrogance was
It was a thing, baby. Oh, and the paint scheme of painting it black, and then the expectation that you would pick out every stud with a little bit of silver. Oh, people that put in the time, you always just would have stood up and you shook their hand because, like, I know that sucked and hurt, and I want you to know that I know.
So that's a little bit of a I guess a glimpse into what we do for our after show part 2s of our shows. Of course, this is a little bit longer than this. We don't have a Fuego in that segment, but we I think are going to have one in now. We're going to do it now.
And right now, yeah, we are going to do that right now.
We have a segment at the end of each one of these shows. It's a little bit of a palate cleanser after we've gone through the nitty gritty of all the ins and outs, the crunchy stuff of the meta, talking about wins and losses and points and stats and stuff. This is a bit of a palate cleanser, where we give ourselves a series of topics and a timer. We fire off our first impressions, our feelings, our emotions, hottest takes.
Erwin, if you're still here, this one's for you, buddy. This was a suggestion by Erwin Jackson, one of our patrons, and he wanted us to do a best in genre series, possibly, of Fuegos. I'm assuming this
which
week
is fantastic, because that is a great couple of Fuegos. So
yeah. We've been doing this for 3 years. We need help.
We need help
weekly.
We're like
great.
This is great.
Something in.
This is a couple. We have a couple different genres or different things we can do genres for. Yes, that's
the patrons get to suggest stuff that, basically from their keys to our ears makes it on the show for either events we cover, Fuego topics, list we cover, things like that. If you have any suggestions, throw them in, and that's the best mechanism to do it. Of course, if that's not the right way to support the show, leave some comments, subscribing and stuff if you haven't. If you made it this far, subscribe before you hear this, because you may change your mind.
That's true. These can go either way.
Oh, anyway, thanks everybody for that. But we give ourselves 2 minutes per topic. At the end of that 2 minutes, we abandon the topic, never to return to it again.
Sometimes you believe that when you say it a lot more than you did just now.
Well, there are ways, and sometimes it's just too good. Sometimes it eats at me at week,
Me too.
From the end of the week until now, and I have to talk about it some.
Sometimes I'll be like making dinner, and I'll just be like, I should have said that.
Why did I think that?
Yeah, you just zoned out for a minute. Anyway, let's take it away. What's this way, guys?
Yep. This one will be the best in genre video game edition, since we already been talking about video games the last couple of weeks. So then either next week or the week after, we got movies, then we got music, but video games today. Here we go. The first one, once I actually do this, there we go. First one, the best fighting game.
Oh, it's going to be hard.
Street Fighter.
Wow, Paul didn't even hesitate. That is good. That is.
Is there a number of
Street Fighter? You just say which one.
Street Fighter. Okay, you want actual Street Fighter
specific one.
2 is the best. But the original Street Fighter, I do remember putting like coins in that, and it had 2 plungers or 2 little humps, and the harder you hit it that's how you got your light, medium, and heavy was a hard kick of each thing.
Yeah.
That was I was so young.
That was cool.
Yeah, but that's not the best. Best Street Fighter 2. I mean, you gotta, when you.
Yeah, Street Fighter 2 is far superior to Street Fighter 1.
Yeah.
Apart from beating up the car, if they let you beat up a car in Street Fighter 2, like it would have it all.
But they do.
Yeah, Street Fighter 2 is where you beat the car up.
Wait, and did I drop out?
We can hear you. Is Adam gone? Adam's gone.
He's,
Continue without me, boys.
he's reeling.
Oh,
He's reeling
we can
from
hear
his
you.
choice. Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
Super Smash Bros.
we got a couple.
in
Yeah,
the
King
chat.
of Fighters. Oh, I didn't think anybody would. Like, King of Fighters is good. Marvel vs. Capcom's good. Smash Bros. That's really high up there for me. Mike Tyson. Okay. I like the Punch Out. I'm assuming
That's not a fighting game.
Punch Out. That's a fighting game. Come on. How's that not a
It's
fighting
okay.
game?
Well, we need to define the genre. I consider fighting game a game where you're fighting against an opponent, potentially.
Well,
where quarters are
boxing is
involved.
not fighting against an opponent. What?
Computer's not the opponent.
Oh, it has to be multiplayer. Okay.
It has to be.
I've got a Soul Calibur, another great one too. You got a lot of different answers in the chat. I like that.
Soul Calibur's good. So what's your opinion?
I have a very odd one that was my favorite fighting game that I've ever played, and it was like Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3, specifically for the Wii, because you used the controllers to do all like the power ups and stuff, so you felt like you were actually doing the power ups, like the command commands. Oh, and then when you fuse with your buddy, you have to like give them half the controller, so then you're doing moves together with that. I loved that. That was so much fun.
Time's up, but
I don't care.
Tekken was the first one with the actual real fighting.
Did anybody
styles.
mention? Did you guys talk about Mortal Kombat at least?
We didn't even know. Mortal Kombat hasn't even come up yet, which I am shocked about. But yeah,
it's good.
It's good.
It's just not the best.
I don't think it's the best either, but it's good. But there
good.
we go. Mark mentioned it. Mortal Kombat. Somebody said it. All right, somebody said it because it definitely needed a nod, if nothing else. All right, next up, best platformer.
Okay, define platformer for me.
We're talking about like the Mario's, Crash Bandicoot, Sonic the Hedgehog, the ones where you're actually running. No, it doesn't have to be like 2D.
Side scroller.
Yeah, side scroller.
Yeah. Yeah, but your Sonic, your Hedgehogs, yeah. I gotcha.
Oh, best is got to be Super Mario Brothers.
Just the original, like number 3. Yeah. Super Mario World is actually.
If you're defining platformers as side scrollers,
no, like, it doesn't have to be because it could be like the 3D style
platforms. But yeah, that started out as that. Like Crash Bandicoot became 3Ds, and everyone got on board with that, and it's kind of evolved since then.
Kyle said Contra. I don't know if that is a platform, but you have so many respect points for me for saying Contra because if it's a platformer, yes, absolutely.
Castlevania. Contra. I mean, again, that's also the first Castlevania.
I feel like those are more like action games. You know what? I will put Contra in the platforming category, and I will say Contra 3. There we go. Best platformer. Love that game. Love that game.
Sonic 2
Sonic
or 3.
Really? You like 3 better than 2?
Because it had Knuckles in it.
Yeah, you're just a Knuckles fan, are you? I didn't like
Knuckles. It was cool.
I didn't like Knuckles.
And then you could play Knuckles.
I have the definition. Platformers are games characterized by levels with uneven terrain and suspended platforms that require jumping and climbing to traverse. So not side scrollers. It is
Contra
necessarily
is 100% a platform. They're done. Contra.
I've said this before on the show, but Earthworm Jim. Not only was it an incredible game, but had the best freaking soundtrack.
That soundtrack was really good.
So good.
The Genesis one was better than the Super Nintendo one, which is actually rare. The Genesis had like more of a rock rock feel to it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give a bonus worst one is there's a Star Wars. I think it's just called Star Wars where you're having to navigate like the Jawas.
Dune Sandcrawler? Sandcrawler.
Yeah.
I was going to say Dune Crawler. This is 40K.
Where it's got moving platforms. You're jumping up and time.
Someone just threw out Echo the Dolphin. You have hate in your heart.
What?
That game was so frustrating.
That was so
frustrating. I played it a lot because it was a game where you just felt so impotent. Like there was no real things you could do. You could just travel and not die. We're just gonna move that way and do our best not to die. And guess what? Everything kills you.
You always die.
Kyle, Star Wars.
Is that Super Star Wars? That might have been. Yeah.
That was many hours in Buddy's living room trying to get up that thing.
All right, next one. Best first or third person shooters, just shooters in general, that kind of.
We doing multiplayer or first?
Hey, if it's multiplayer that makes it the best for you, then yeah, put it in there.
Half-Life 2.
Ooh.
Brought us Counter-Strike in addition to being one of the greatest games of all time.
Half-Life 2 is pretty hard to beat, actually.
what's that? I can't remember the full name. It's like Crisis Protocol, not Crisis Protocol.
Crisis Protocol is a thing, yeah.
That's a miniature game, but no, where you're having to
Crisis
step
Protocol
on.
was also a video.
You mean Time Crisis?
Time Crisis, yes,
yes,
Time Crisis was amazing.
Oh, I love you, mate. That's what a good shout. In the arcade with your mates, Time Crisis. Mwah, the graphics were terrible. The mechanics were terrible, but by God, I put 120 fucking bucks into that.
That was great. That was great.
Also, there's a game called I think it's called Silent Scope, to where you're a sniper.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. We got some good shouts in chat. Quake 2, Doom,
Quake 2,
hands down.
Doom,
which
sure.
Doom?
Doom?
OG Wolfenstein. Oh, now we're going back to the classics.
Elden Ring's more of an adventure one. That's I think
or
Destiny's in there too because of like the RPG element. I think those are technically adventure games.
Yep. Nice.
But
Duck Hunt.
Great ones too. But we have an adventure category coming up. I think it's next actually. So
anybody think anything beats Half-Life 2 though?
Half-Life 2 is really hard to beat. Like I'm legitimately thinking, and I don't.
Pretty much
how
was the game.
How does Unreal fit into that?
Unreal Tournament.
It was good. It was very good. It was still Half-Life 2, man.
The basis. I mean, we're talking about like the origin of like where some of these other great things have gone from. You know, like Castle, Wolfenstein, Unreal. Doom.
Yep.
If it's the original Doom and you have that nostalgia factor, that absolutely counts. Like the nostalgia factor really helps. Like love some of these games. Because if you go back to some of them, Doom's not one of these. But if you go back to some of them, then they don't hold up.
And I mean, there are some out there that are pretty problematic too, like Duke Nukem. Man, like, how did this get made?
All these things you're like, I'm excited. I can't wait to like play this game with my son, and it's gonna be like, no, he's not gonna get it. He's not gonna get it. By the way, I wasn't referring to Duke Nukem with that because that's not. Yeah. Anyway. Next one. Best adventure game. There it is. All right.
This is going to be contentious.
Dungeons and Dragons: Pool of Radiance.
Oh wow, that's obscure.
Whoa.
Bard's Tale also high.
Oh, Bard's Tale was really good. I liked Bard's Tale. Like all the Baldur's Gates. Obviously, Baldur's Gate 3 is fantastic.
Yep.
Those are one of the greatest games of all time. Yeah. And
the Elden Ring.
Yeah, the first Dragon Age was one for me that was pretty formative. I never played any of the sequels, but the first one was absolutely spectacular.
Skyrim.
I think
going into modern.
I mean, Elder Scrolls Morrowind. Morrowind is Elder Scrolls, the third one, I think. KR. But Elden Ring and Morrowind are both great answers.
100%. Yeah, Skyrim is a good shout, because that thing is still chugging, like still going along.
Fallout 3, Zelda. Okay, which Zelda, Dorian? This is
where I said I was going to get contentious, because the end game of this was always going to be Zelda versus FFA.
FFA, really?
Final Fantasy.
No, that's no. Final Fantasy is a different category. That's JRPG. We'll get there.
There you go. I thought Zelda would have come into that category as well.
No, that's adventure. That's not JRPG at all. Come on, don't you know Zelda 2? Wow.
Did you make two? Did you invent another category just so Zelda wouldn't have to fight Final Fantasy? Is that what this is, Dustin?
No, I actually looked it up.
I'm just making stuff up.
Actually, this is exactly what a Fuego is. This is me making stuff up.
Diablo is another great.
Diablo's a good one, yeah.
Like when Diablo 1 came out, me and a buddy played it in shifts.
Actually, no. You know what? I think I like Diablo 1 better. Diablo 2 was amazing, but Diablo 1 just had a better feel to it.
Diablo 1, you couldn't get enough of it.
Yeah.
In Diablo 2, it introduced like more adventure, with your different. There was different stuff in it, which built off of Diablo 1. Though I still think Diablo 1 is probably why you played Diablo 2.
I'm going to say something about my personal life right now. But only substance abuse and addiction has taken me to worse levels of depravity than being a hardcore ladder player of Diablo 2.
Okay, I can't. I mean, we all
that gets my vote.
That
gets my vote.
I'm thankful at a place you can talk. You're at a place you can talk about it now.
We're here to listen to. Is Red Dead Redemption 2 adventure or third-person shooter? I think it technically is adventure because of the RPG elements again, but it could be either. That's a tough one. Oh my God, Dorian, you're right. Nobody mentioned Mega Man. I am ashamed because Mega Man 2, Mega Man 3.
But that would be a platformer.
Platformer,
which
yeah,
is,
that's what
by
I
the
mean.
way, probably
That's what he was
would
saying
take
as
the
a
best.
platformer. Yeah.
Oh,
He
yeah,
was saying-
you're right. Yes.
Yeah,
Let's
saying
rewind.
shame-
Go back.
Rewind.
Shame on
Mega Man.
us.
Mega
Shame on
Man.
us
Oh my
for
god,
not
I
mentioning
cannot
Mega Man.
believe I did not even. Yeah, Mega Man 2
Yep.
or 3, probably 3.
You don't know how
but-
cool it was to be able to switch weapons and defeat a boss. And
Oh
take
my
their
God.
weapons, add it to your thing. Like that was.
Oh, I just loved it. Oh, well, I'm gonna go play it after this. Okay, next one. Best strategy game.
Strategy game.
Are we talking like our RTS? Real-time strategy?
Those are strategy, but so is like Civ. Like those are strategy games, just turn-based,
yeah.
right? Heroes 3 is really high up there for me. Heroes of Might and Magic.
Yeah,
3.
and we got to factor in the Total Wars here as well.
Oh,
Well, there's
my
a bunch
God.
of like there are a bunch of games where you have to build your city and build. So like
Those are strategies.
like
as well.
StarCraft.
Yeah, those are
you know,
strategies.
is and those like so I think StarCraft probably one of the best strategies.
StarCraft, I can't not say it because that is the game I put the most hours into of my life. Like there's no comparison.
Yep, that's your one. That's your Diablo
Like
2
more,
for me. Yeah.
it is absolutely my Diablo 2 because I played that like professionally and yeah, I played that. Even the amount of 40K I play now, I still have not touched how much I played StarCraft.
Wow. That's
I
wild.
played it a lot.
So there's a couple of contenders here. We have the Red Alerts, we have the StarCrafts and the Warcrafts. You can kind of bundle
Civilization,
them
Dawn
together.
of War,
But
like those were pretty good too.
Dawn of Wars,
Dawn of War
exactly.
counts.
Total Wars.
Total Wars.
And I'll put a shout out to my pick, which isn't a genre, which isn't a series, but Total Annihilation was a formative RTS for me. It was extremely good for its time. The graphics were fantastic. The explosions, in particular, they had like the best explosions of any RTS I played.
Mhm.
That was my pick for my favorite strategy game. But as for best,
XCOM was good. I like.
I got to go either Red Alert, Tiberian Sun, or StarCraft 2. Actually, StarCraft 1. Sorry, StarCraft 1.
I think I like Brood
StarCraft
War.
1 was more impactful than StarCraft 2.
The Total Wars, though, they're so good.
Total Wars are really good.
Which one is your favorite Total War? I need to know this.
I don't play them.
What?
They overwhelm me, man.
What?
They're too much. They are too much.
It is
They
a
are
lot.
one level-
Like, you're like, wait a second.
They're
Now I'm
one
getting
You're a
level-
rated by
Warhammer player.
the High Elves.
Correct.
Oh, that's
Yeah. They're one level above what I can like do with the time that I have to play games these days.
So
Hey,
I
you
didn't
go to
get
High Elves,
into
roll
them
the
early.
map. Here I am
incidentally, I'm not even
getting
talking
high.
about the Warhammer ones. I'm talking about like the other ones. But it's
I didn't play them. See, I didn't play
they're
any of
so-
them at a
Oh my
formative age.
God, you need to
so
play
pretty
them.
much, I was playing Heroes of Might and Magic and like stuff like that instead. And
Heroes
I found
of Might
that was like
better.
Heroes of Might and Magic was like the one level below Total War. Total War's
I
like
think it's
one
better though.
tier
Here's
above
Might
in
Magic
complexity.
is accessible. You can play it
we're
like
talking about accessibility. Then yeah, it's definitely more accessible. Yeah. I didn't like the end game of the Heroes games, which is because once you get to a certain
they
point, you
all-
can usually always just like, okay, you're
Unga
you're
bunga.
dead.
Yeah.
that's the way
Yeah.
all these things end.
No, not always, and not always,
Mm.
But the Total War 3 Kingdoms, one of the newer ones, is probably the top one for me now, with very close with Shogun 2. Shogun 2 is incredible. Medieval Total War 2 was very good for its time, but is now got outclassed.
I'm thinking about all these platformers and side scrollers that just keep coming to me. Like
See, you're going to be coming
Yeah.
back, you're going to have a shower tomorrow.
I'm
Like,
gonna
I
throw it
should have said this.
Correct.
Dynasty Wars. You know,
Oh snap!
Oh,
It's pretty good.
yeah, that's pretty good too. All right.
All right.
I think this is the last one. Yep, best JRPG.
Let's Joe.
Final Fantasy.
Which
Final
one?
Fantasy 7.
Specifically.
Oh,
seven.
come on, guys.
57.
That is such a cop-out.
You
It's a
know
cop-
who
okay,
we are.
let me know
You
when whatever
know
you
who we
suggest
are.
it's a movie like Advent Children made. Like you just let me know when it's that good.
Just because
When
it's
you get to
popular doesn't
Advent
mean it's
Children
the
level,
best. Come on, give me a break.
When
here.
you get to Advent Children level, let me know.
I would like it to get to Advent Children
Bro,
level. If you're gonna,
But it's not going to
Dustin.
because it's not as good as Final Fantasy VII.
All right. With a straight face, Dustin, throw out contenders to Final Fantasy 7 for the best JRPG.
if we're talking about like Final Fantasies, either already 6 and 8 are better. I'm sorry, they are. They're just better.
8 was not better.
8 was better. 8 was better.
I didn't play 6. Don't
Yeah,
ask me why I didn't
oh,
play 6. I
God.
played 5 and 4. Didn't play 6. Don't ask me why. So I can't come
6
up
is
with
better
that.
than
one-
4.
I played the crap out of 8 and it was not better.
Yeah.
Xenogears is good. Yeah. Okay. You want contenders? Chrono Trigger.
That's pretty good.
Like,
it's not Final Fantasy. It's not FF7 though. It's very good. It's very good.
What
That's a top five.
What friggin' single player game on PlayStation makes you have fetch quests? I hate that. I hate that.
You know what? Is Kingdom Hearts a JRPG?
Yes. Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
It's how do you? Okay,
isn't it?
I should say I do not believe it is because it's made by Disney, cross-platform across all Disney platforms. That happens to include a couple of Final Fantasy characters. It's like Square Enix.
It's the style of the game. It's not necessarily made in like Japan.
And it's a turn-based
I guess
strategy.
if we're calling is Square Enix, is that a domiciled?
Domiciled? What do you mean?
Like domiciled in Japan is like specifically.
Well, yes. Yes.
And did they do Kingdom Hearts? That's the next question.
They did, didn't they? Man.
Kingdom Hearts, the nationless JRPG. Like many other Japanese games and anime, is an oriental product that caters to a global audience by erasing any recognizable Japanese cultural features, including Okay, so yes, it is JRPG. But it's not there's no J attached to that JRPG. It's I guess.
So sorry for those in the chat that are asking. JRPG stands for a Japanese role-playing game, but it doesn't necessarily mean it has to be Japanese.
It's just made in that style.
It's made in that style.
It's now an identity all of its own.
Yeah.
So I'll put Kingdom Hearts up there. Kingdom Hearts, I don't know if it's 1 or 2 though, because they were both very good. But essentially, it was the same dang game, just like different characters from 1 to 2.
What I do like though is that you could have like a personal connection. Like it really got you into the game.
I think that's actually a big thing with those. If you find one that just got that connection with you, either be emotional or just the way you like the combat, whatever it could be. Because even like the Valkyrie profile games, if you've ever played those, were actually fantastic. Or the earlier ones. I don't think the new ones were.
Nothing. So the reason I say Kingdom Hearts is because it played me at a very silly time. Like I played it at a very silly time in my life, where all I would do is get Goofy and just watch Goofy whip ass. Like just beat the crap out of people. And I was like, this is hilarious. Imagine going home to your partner and kids, having your ass whooped by Goofy. Like there's no coming back. That's it. That's the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah. I see that. I can see that. That's bad. It doesn't go lower, man.
There is some contention here, but I think we got some good list. It's a good topic. Thanks a lot for suggesting it.
And then lastly, we have the meme theme of the week, which is Robin saying something and Batman slapping him hard. And I'll start it off with an Eldar player saying, Eldar is fun and interactive to play against.
Yep. I think the reality is going to be Robin saying Wind Rider host and then Batman saying War host or aspect host with a backhand.
You don't think Yunari slip in there once people?
Not yet. So Yunari's going to be a couple of months away, I think, from being the hotness. Maybe a couple of weeks, but on release, I reckon those 2 detachments will be the ones that go straight to the top. Yunari's going to take a little bit of time because it is a very hard to build, very hard to use faction.
I got another one. Final Fantasy VII is the best Final Fantasy.
Sorry, I got one really good one, but I'm going to leave it for the last one because.
Okay.
Let's see. Robin and Adam and saying we have plenty of time to catch up. And Batman, Batman.
That was what I was literally going to say.
You cut us a week out of this out of a month.
I'm sure there's plenty of time for Adam and Dustin to catch up on points. Shut up, it's over. Says Batman, who is Paul. That's good.
Just roll 4s. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I like that one.
Robin is saying the time of God is over. The age of the orc has begun, and it's like Eldari.
It's going to be some exciting times here after basically two codexes and get injected into the wild.
And And dude, a complete refresh via the Gromus, like a complete refresh of the meta. Not every faction got a playable detachment, at the competitive level. Everyone got one, which is fantastic. And yeah, it like almost refreshed everyone's palettes for the new year.
Yeah. This is the Fuego. Stop talking about 40K.
And with that. Just walks away. He's done. Yep, you're right. Knock over the green screen.
That is how we do it. Yes. We may never see him again.
Nope, he's gone. The brick wall is like halfway in his house now. It's just it's over. It's over. He's gone. He's not coming back, guys.
Oh, we now have a window into the part 2s of these shows, although we don't do a flag out. That was for this part of the show. Hope y'all have enjoyed it. It's been an absolute great show, great time talking about 40K with y'all. If you haven't already, please like, share, subscribe, leave some comments down below. That is a hassle-free way to interact with the show, and that's one way to tell the aggregators, hey, we should come and hang out with these folks and listen to the stuff as well. If you are going to the events we talk about, let us know what you're taking in the chat. We want to hear for that. If there's something we're missing about your local environment, make sure that you let us know, because that's what we're here to talk about. Dustin, we'll have to go find Adam.
We're gonna have to go find Adam. Hopefully he'll be back next week, guys. But until then, thanks for tuning in. We love all of you. Thank you for tuning in to live. If you're gonna tune to us afterwards, don't forget to like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Good night, everybody.